Good morning, afternoon. My name is Jermaine Whiteside, and this presentation walks through Chapter 1 of my Dissertation-in-Praxis project for CLED 80085. The title says it plainly. This is a project about what happens when good policy sits on paper but never reaches practice. And that gap is exactly what I found at Anointed Connect Church. This project examines a governance implementation gap within Anointed Connect Church, where formal governance structures exist in policy but have not yet been translated into operational procedures. The CLED 885 Dissertation in Praxis model calls for solving a real problem inside a real organization, Anointed Connect Church, Inc. Is that organization a South Carolina nonprofit with a digital ministry and a governance structure that's legally sound on paper but operationally incomplete? That's the gap I'm here to close. The dissertation in praxis model focuses on addressing application gaps inside real organizational settings rather than generating new theoretical frameworks. Chapter 1 establishes the foundation for the project by identifying the strategic problem, defining the current organizational need, articulating a preferred future, describing the collaborating organization, and outlining the leadership team responsible for implementation. Anointed Connect Church has version 5.5 bylaws that establish a sole director, an oversight committee, succession tiers, and intellectual property protections. Structurally, that's solid. The problem is that none of it comes with operational procedures. No decision boundaries are defined. No consultation triggers are documented. The structure exists, it just doesn't function. That's a program and process problem, and that's what this project addresses. Without operational procedures, governance provisions remain inactive and leadership authority lacks consistent implementation. Right now, governance at Anointed Connect Church largely defaults to informal judgment. Decisions are made, but they do not consistently follow a documented process. Succession provisions exist within the bylaws, yet no operational steps define how those provisions are activated. Intellectual property protections are set out in the governing documents, but enforcement workflows have not been established. As a result, the organization currently operates without the procedural structure typically expected within nonprofit governance frameworks, including those associated with IRS 501c3 compliance. The preferred future is an organization where authority is defined, documented, and consistent, where the sole director makes decisions with confidence because clear thresholds exist, and where governance functions through systems rather than personalities. The vision is a fully codified, transparent governance structure. The purpose is translating what the bylaws authorize into what the organization actually does every day. The project, therefore, focuses on developing a structured governance implementation framework that operationalizes the bylaws through documented procedures. Anointed Connect Church is not a traditional local congregation. Its administrative home is Spartanburg, South Carolina, but its ministry reaches participants across North America, the Caribbean, and beyond through fully digital platforms. Christian education and leadership development are the mission, not a supplement to it. That global digital reach creates governance demands that a standard church structure wasn't built to handle. Time zones, distributed content, IP distribution, all of it requires governance that travels with the ministry. The organization operates primarily through digital ministry platforms rather than a traditional congregational facility. The project operates within a sole director governance model. The collaborating coach serves as the organizational leader responsible for approving governance implementation and ensuring the proposed procedures move from documentation into formal adoption. Two frameworks ground this work. Organizational systems theory shows that unclear authority in one area cascades decision delays, operational inconsistency, compliance exposure. Organizational systems theory demonstrates that governance structures function as interconnected systems rather than isolated components. Stewardship theory reframes what this project is doing. Documented governance isn't a constraint on leadership, it's what allows faithful, sustainable leadership over time. Jethro's counsel to Moses in Exodus 18 said the same thing centuries ago. Structure preserves the leader's capacity to lead. Chapter 1 identifies a concrete governance problem within a real organization, connects that problem to established leadership theory, defines the preferred future, and identifies a team responsible for implementation. The outcome of this project will be a governance implementation framework translating bylaws into operational procedures. Thank you, Dr. Kevin Jones, my professor at Liberty University. Artificial intelligence tools were used in a limited editorial capacity during preparation of this project. Google Notebook LM assisted with organizing source materials and reviewing draft sections for clarity. All analysis, interpretation, and final written content were produced by me, Jermaine Whiteside.